Hey folks, welcome back to Badger Canyon Motorsports. Today, we're working on a Motovox. Join us, shall you? Alright, so here at Badger Canyon Motorsports, the actual company now, we're doing custom mini bikes, go-karts, ATVs, and all that good stuff. So like we've got the Tri-Sport over there, which the video will be coming out on that soon. We've got the Pulse over there. That's got some stuff that we need to work on. But today we're doing a custom Motovox Mbx10, the mini moto. We're putting a 212 Predator, we're putting a 30 series torque converter, we've got the hydraulic brake set up on it already. So I'm just going to take you guys real quick through this build. It's not too complicated. There was some custom fabrication stuff that we had to do. But first, before we get into that, go check us out on Instagram, Badger Canyon Motorsports, Facebook as well, and give us a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. We're trying to grow this brand, and it would just be cool if we got some support on it. So let's get into this 212. Alright, so this is the 212 Predator from Harbor Freight. We've got her tagged out, no oil, do not start. That's just a safety precaution. But you can see we've got the airbox and the exhaust off of it. We've already pulled the governor out of it, as well as the low oil pressure sensor, and we're starting to fit up the 30 series torque converter from Go Power Sports. So one of the things with these torque converters, they are great for low end torque. They changed their gear ratio from like 2.5 something all the way up to 0.9 to 1, which is an overdrive ratio. But the mounting for these guys, they've got 3 mounting holes that bolt to the crankcase cover on the Predator, and for the most part you can get them where you need to get them, but this, because of the way the frame on the Motovox is, we actually need to come up more, but we can't go all the way to that hole because the bearing carrier on the back will hit the bottom of the head. So what I've ended up having to do is, with the roto zip these guys out, just slot the holes bigger so that this guy can pivot now and we can get the angle that we need. We're almost touching the cylinder housing in the back, or the cylinder head with the bearing housing in the back, but there's still about a 1/4 of an inch gap, which is perfect because I don't want an interference fit on the back side of that. But check it out. So we've got all these guys loose. This is the normal position that you would have with that hole, and with the slots you can see she comes up almost a full inch. So we're going to raise that up, bolt it down, and get the engine test fit on the frame. Okay, so we got the engine mocked up. I got the chain on temporarily to check clearances and alignment. We've got the blocks underneath to get this up off, and that just barely clears the frame right there, but that'll be fine. It's still enough room to barely get that belt on there. Okay, so we're going to measure and mark where the slots, the new slots on the engine plate are going to go, and get everything set. We also had to mock up the rear fender just because we had to push it back. Here's the original holes, the other bracket holes over here. So we're going to drill that hole once we get the angle figured out where it doesn't interfere with the valve cover or the chain and all that, because I really don't want to cut it. I mean, I probably will have to cut a little bit, but should be fine other than that. So let's get that engine line marked and cut those slots out so that we can mount that engine down. See, down in here we've got the square on the outer frame rail, and we've got it marked so we can kind of see. So we're going to take the center of that hole, go straight down, and that's at 3.5. So that's where the center of our slot's going to be. It's 3.5 inches in from this rail right here. Now that we can mark the front and back side of that slot, and then measure to the front slot and do the exact same thing. So pull the engine out, and we'll start marking those slots. So here is the back side of the slots. We've got our center punch here and here, and then from there we scribed out a line all the way down. This is the center line for the slots. So we're gonna pop a hole front and back on both, and then we're gonna cut them out with a jigsaw. We got the holes for the slots drilled out, so now we're just going to go ahead and score the sides and connect the dots with the jigsaw. Alright, so we got all the slots cut and deburred on the bottom side. So the other thing that I did earlier was I extended this, I swapped out this foot peg bar just because we need to widen it anyway to clear the engine and torque converter. So the stock length was 11.5. I cut that out. I put a 16.5 inch tube back in it, 1 inch 120 wall. So it's not going anywhere. So we've got the risers in. Let's go ahead and throw the engine in, and we're going to mock up the exhaust because I think I'm going to have to readjust the angle on that to clear the fender and the saddle. So let's go ahead and get that done. Alright, so we got the exhaust for this thing right here in my hand. I've already cut off the flange because we had interference right here on the frame. So I've taken about 1 inch off of this tube coming right off of the header flange, and now we've got it to where it'll sit right up in there and fit just fine. So let's go over and weld it on. and there she be. Here's a quick tip on the keeper for your master link. You see it's closed on one end, open on the other end. Make sure the closed end is always pointed in the direction of your chain travel. That way, if it catches on something, it will not come off. If it's this way, something hits right there, pop right off, you lose your master link. Tip of the day. Okay, chain's on. We're going to tighten it up. Throw the exhaust back on. Put the stage 1 intake on from Go Power Sports. Carb jet, intake, filter, and and rear fender. So the rear fender on this, we did have to notch out to make clearance for the chain to go by. The torque converter ends right about here, but this was rubbing on the chain, so we just cut it off. The other thing we cut off is the chain tensioner, because we're actually sliding the engine forward to put tension on the chain and bolting it from below. That's the Motovox 212 build, 30 series torque converter and hydraulic brake conversion from Go Power Sports. All the links in the description below. Thanks for watching Badger Canyon Motorsports. We'll see you on the next one.
You gonna show my dick now?
No, we're not going to show your dick now.
Yes.